you gals, you guys are both DC Project gals, which is awesome. And you guys have, besides the Sister in Arms, what's the other thing I'm thinking of?
Armed Women of America.
Armed Women of America. You guys have that. You're teaching women in Massachusetts how to be safe with firearms, and you guys have the Sister in Arms new TV show.
Yes.
You guys have a lot of stuff going on.
Yes. Yep, we do.
And you know what I think is really cool with the chapter that we do is, and this is why we're doing the show Sisters in Arms, is because we're wanting to show the public and the community what firearm ownership looks like. It means a lot to us to be able to be a resource to the community for those that are, in fact, 2A supporters, Second Amendment supporters, or for those that are not understanding what we're doing and why, but they have a safe place to send email us a question or ask us.
All right, so this show that you guys have, tell me about this show.
Sisters in Arms.
Sisters in Arms. How did this come up? Like, how do you go from having this idea?
How it came up was we meet with the Armed Women of America Monday night, 6 to 8. Not everyone can do that. So Carrie and I were like, there's got to be a way that we can get more information to people other than just them coming to this one meeting once a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it. It was that simple. And we're like, well, how about if we have a TV show?
How do you get a TV show?
How we get a TV show is we end up in the newspaper shooting guns, front page of the paper, girls and guns. People seem to like it.
Right.
And so we get a call from one of the directors of the show TCAM that we do our show at, and his name is Pete Mazzone.
TCAM stands for?
Taunton Community Access Channel.
All right.
TV.
You guys are like Wayne's World with guns? Right.
So Pete reached out to us and said, hey, my wife, who scouts all the talent for us, wanted me to interview you on my show. And that's how we met Pete. So we were on his show.
It's Pete on the Street, right?
Pete on the Street.
That's awesome.
Pete on the Street.
We're driving by Duncan here. Do you want to stop?
Yes.
All right.
Because Massachusetts lives on Duncan.
We're in the Commonwealth, so we have to...
Coming in hard or fast. So, Charlie, we are here at our studio.
We're at, what is it, the TCAM?
TCAM.
The TCAM studio.
Yep.
Excellent.
So, welcome to Sisters in Arms.
I am honored to be here. I mean, you've had John Green and Charlie Cook.
Yep.
This is awesome.
Yep, and Charlie Cook is from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. So, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go. It's always my dream when two women take me in and be like, hey, we're going to have you on the show.
We're not kidnapping you.
No.
We're just, we're asking you.
You look like you're a willing participant.
I'm a willing participant. This is true. This is true. So yes, let's do this. This is going to be great.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. See you in the studio. Welcome to Sisters in Arms. I'm Carrie Ann Alclair.
And I'm Renee Gagney. And together we serve as a Second Amendment resource for the communities of Massachusetts.
Today is our third episode, and we have a very important special guest, Charlie Cook. Wasn't that an awesome ride, or what?
That was great. It is so much fun hanging out with you ladies. I'm so glad you guys, I can't say you kidnapped me, but I'm so glad we filmed the show and you guys brought me here.
Yeah, I'm glad you came. So Charlie Cook is a firearm instructor, a Second Amendment advocate, a father of two, and you are also a member of Toastmasters, and you received a couple awards. A Blogger of the Year award, I heard.
Yes, so Toastmasters was something that I started to do. At one point, I was teaching firearm safety classes, or firearm safety courses at a shooting school here in the state, and a friend of mine, honestly what it came down to is I would see 20 people in a class, and I know everyone paid $100 for the class, and I knew I was bringing in $2,000 for the boss, and I knew how much he was paying me, and I said, how can I make $2,000? So I started my own business teaching firearm safety courses on my own. And a friend of mine said, you should talk to you should talk to one of the guys in town who is a Toastmaster and a small business owner. And she's like, he's got some space. You should ask him about using his space. And I'm like, I can't just go up to a stranger and start asking them if I can use their office. So she brought me to a Toastmaster meeting, and I thought it was really strange because everyone claps a lot. And it seemed really awkward. So I went to the first meeting, and then I ended up going to the second meeting. And at the second meeting, I whipped out a check and wrote a check and became a member.
That's cool.
And then I started working on my speaking and presenting skills, and that led to doing speech contests, which was pretty fun. I got to call myself an award-winning speaker.
That's awesome.
Right? I know it didn't seem like anything, but it was pretty cool. And that led to going out and doing stand-up comedy as well.
Really?
Which was
That I
pretty
didn't
fun.
know.
Yeah. I was doing all that pre-pandemic. And then as one of the great things about Toastmasters is not just that they teach you your speaking and presenting skills, you learn some leadership skills.
That's cool.
So I became an officer of the club, and I worked my way up to becoming the president of the club, and I had to run meetings every week.
That's
and one of the things that I thought was important was we have a little segment that we call, we ask everyone, did they speak outside the club? And I'm like, I want to speak outside the club every week because I want to let people see you have to make these opportunities to go speak. So whether it was for work or some sort of a podcast or something, I did that. So after that, I started to work on this thing that they have called the Triple Crown, and I wanted to get my Distinguished Toastmaster, but I didn't get that. I did get a couple of Triple Crowns, and I ended up being an area director for a while as well.
That's
so I'd have to
cool.
go to other Toastmaster clubs and make sure that they're doing all the things that they need to do. So that was really cool. And I had a club that was, they were having an open house one night. And one of the ladies, they had a lady from the Worcester Telegram and Gazette come. And so she just came and I gave a little speech and blah, 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 whatever. And then she called me afterwards and she's like, so can I talk to you about all these things you're involved in? Yeah, sure. And then lo and behold, like I ended up in the T and G, like all this stuff that I've been keeping up with through Toastmasters.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So is that how you also got the Blogger of the Year award, or is that something separate?
So the Blogger of the Year, it was something separate. I started interviewing people and making videos interviewing people, and most of the people in the gun community. That's one of the things that I wanted to do. So that led to me speaking at the Gun Rights Policy Conference for the last 7 years.
That's impressive.
It is pretty cool, and that's where I got to really meet a lot of the movers and shakers in the gun community.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then somehow I got to sort of be one of them. And it never really set out for that, but one of these nice things. And one year they had these awards at lunchtime, and they said, hey, the Blogger of the Year is somebody that doesn't really write or blog, and the media is changing all the time, and this person does video interviews, and the Blogger of the Year is Charlie Cook.
Oh, wow.
And I had the guy next to me, they're like, hey man, they just called your name. I'm like, for what? I don't have a car, I don't leave my lights on. So I went up and I accepted the award for Blogger of the Year at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Phoenix in 2019. And then after that, I had to start writing articles for the interviews I was in.
That's awesome.
I ran around for 2 days saying I was the Blogger of the Year, and I didn't write a word.
Yeah, I think we actually got a really nice picture of that too.
Yeah.
So. Oh, that's awesome.
That was pretty cool.
So as far as your two-way advocacy, what would you say your mission is? We did an episode with you, which was fantastic, and I know you had a lot of the DCP girls on previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say your mission is for that?
So I guess the big mission is to put a series of videos out interviews out where people can see that gun owners are just the regular people. And there was some sort of incident that happened that changed for them. Maybe they went from being a non-gun person, or I call it a gun agnostic, where they're like, yeah, guns, yeah, they seem a little dangerous, not really for me. And then something happened where they're like, hey, you know what? I need to get a gun license. I need to be able to protect myself. I need to learn more about this. And what I want to do is I want to try to get the message of these people out.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
and I have there's some other goals. I want to film shows and or film episodes in in every state, and I've done shows in 32 states so far.
That's cool.
So I've got some plans for 2023 to get to more states on the other side of the Mississippi.
Yeah,
so.
to meet the other movers and shakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is rewarding to me when people that I look up to come up to me and they're like, "Hey, when do I get to be on the show?" I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
when are you gonna have me on? When are you gonna interview me?" And I'm like, "I'm working on it."
Yeah.
I have to get around the country to do this. So.
So you've said you met a lot of movers and shakers, and as you know that we're part of the DC project, and you've interviewed and met a lot of amazing women.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. I've had, I think I've interviewed 32 of the gals that are DC Project gals. And at first it was, they had one from every state. And then I realized I interviewed three from Illinois. I had Rhonda Ezell, I had Mary Callison, and I had Lori Blackwell. And I had them all on different shows. But I'm like, wait a second, it's not one from every state. They got other gals too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's a leader,
Yeah.
there's a director, a state director, and delegates. Delegates are members. So you can have as many members as you want, but there's
Yeah.
one state director.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you met Diane Muller.
Oh my gosh! So here's how I met Di. I was going down to DC. I filmed an episode in Philadelphia with somebody, and then Amy Dillon. I had an Airbnb, and Amy Dillon called me up, and she's like, "I think there's some gal that's not coming. I think we can get you a room in the hotel everyone else is in." And I'm like,
Oh, that was great.
"All right, that's cool. I'm going to have to cancel my Airbnb and whatever, paid the fine for that, the fee for that, still had to pay for it. But I went into Amy Dillon brought me in. She's like, here's Di Muller. She's hanging out in her hotel room. I'm like, hi, I know you don't know me, but thank you very much for letting me stay in someone's room.
I think didn't Holly Sullivan, when you asked to meet her, didn't she call
freaked out?
somebody because she was like, who is this person?
It was, oh my gosh, it was the tactical pixie, Tatiana Whitlock.
Yes.
I sent her a message, and I'm like, all the emails I send to people, because it's all cold calling, right?
Yep.
And I sent Tatiana a message. I'm like, hi, my name's Charlie. I've got this interview series I'm doing. I'd like to interview you. And she's like, all right, well, let me get back to you. And then she messages Robin Sandoval, and they're like, who is this guy? And why is he he wants to drive me around
in his car?
Who is this? What is this guy? And they're like, oh my God, it's cool. It's legit. You'll have a good time. And to me,
awesome.
that's the best endorsement I can get from somebody.
That's funny.
Now, Di has a very interesting story. Her career, she was decades she spent on the police force.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody
in Oklahoma.
knows that.
Yeah, she was a police officer for a long time and a competitive shooter and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's pretty dynamic.
I think it's awesome what she's doing. I think the mission, everything about it, it's awesome. I'm so happy to be part of it because it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. I am more than willing to promote any of the DC Project gals and what they're doing, and interview them and whatever. Yeah.
Well, how about Cheryl Todd? Did you get Cheryl Todd yet?
God. So Cheryl and I, my very first year at Gun Rights Policy Conference, I was. At the very end, they have everyone come up that's still around, and anyone can ask them questions. So I'm up on the stage. I'm sitting next to Cheryl, and Masada Ayub is answering someone's question. So I'm like, I have to get a picture with Masada Ayub behind me. So I get out my phone, I take a little selfie. Alan Gottlieb comes up behind me and gives me the bunny ears. Right? So Cheryl and I started doing this. Every time we go someplace, we get a selfie of us. One of us is giving the other bunny ears.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I interviewed her and her husband, Danny, out in Phoenix in 2019.
Yeah.
Now, weren't you part of the polka dots?
Oh,
There's
my
a
gosh.
story about that.
There is a story. So the polka dot story is this. I was dating this girl, and she thought what I was doing was a little bit crazy. Right? She's like, so you're calling up these gun people and you don't know who they are and they don't know who you are and you're going to ride around with them and hang out with them and they like guns and you like guns and...
You're going to have a conversation?
Right. And she's like, I don't know about all that.
Right.
But I'd go to these things and I'd get pictures and I'd show them to her, and Cheryl was always wearing polka dots. So my girlfriend said to her, she's like, "Isn't that the polka dot lady?" So I messaged Cheryl. I'm like, "Hey, my girlfriend calls you the polka dot lady."
That's
and
funny.
she turned that into her little hashtag,
Yep,
polka dots
I
on
love
my
it.
camo.
I love it.
Well, we
Yeah.
went to DC in September, all of the DC gals, all of the leaders, the state directors, and Cheryl was there, of course, in her polka dots.
Of course.
And I wore a polka dotted dress, not even thinking about it. So we got an amazing picture of
Yeah.
us.
That's
That was-
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it's important for you to advocate for our Second Amendment, which is our, 2A movement here. Why do you have such a passion for that? What made you kind of switch into what you're doing now?
So again, I grew up as a gun agnostic. I wasn't a pro-gun guy. After I had my son is when I said, "Hey, this is important stuff. I have this little boy that I need to raise and protect, and I need to be around to be able to raise him. So I think I need to I need to find a way to protect him." And it was, he needed to become a gun guy. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
And you teach classes, firearm classes?
Yes, I teach. I'm certified to teach a number of classes through the NRA.
Which one's your favorite?
I like doing home firearm safety.
Me too.
It's right. I say it's rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Oh my! It is the bare minimum that people need in order to get their mass LTC. But I have a PowerPoint that I use, and I try to say that I'm not necessarily teaching the class. I'm selling people that are interested on becoming a gun owner, and on learning about all this stuff. When you talk to people and you say, "Well, you can't have one of those here." Well, what do you mean I can't have one? Yeah, it's not legal. You can't get that from a dealer. You can't have a magazine that has more than 10 rounds.
Right.
You can't. Yeah, you can't have an AR and a assault rifle. And I can never say that stuff with a serious voice. You can't have those. It's got to be neutered. And they're like, "Well, this is ridiculous." Yeah,
Right.
it is. I had a guy one time. He's like, he was a Connecticut resident, and he was doing the basic pistol class, and he was doing the Utah stuff too. So it was an all day long class, and then it was another half a day at the shooting range. And he's like, "Well, what is the NRA doing about this?" And I'm like, "The NRA is waiting for you to become a member, and you to call your politicians, and you to get active.
Yeah.
That's what the NRA is
And
doing."
I think it's so awesome meeting someone like yourself that's actually going out and spreading the word and actually meeting other women or men that are in this community, because I think it's so important to show the community that this is what gun owners look like, and we are responsible gun owners, and we are responsible law-abiding citizens. So, I mean, don't you think that's just so key to everything that we're doing?
Yeah, for
It is.
sure.
I don't know if you guys know who Rick Ector is. He's an instructor in Detroit, and he does a thing every year. He's done it for the last 10 or 11 years, where he offers a free training course for women. And they come in and they go through 20 rounds of shooting a 9mm semi-auto handgun.
That's awesome.
But they have like a 45-minute safety briefing. He has instructors from all over the country that come to this.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And it's great. Some of these women have never shot before. Some of the women go every year, and one woman went back the next year with her mom, went back the next year with her daughters. So
that's
it's
cool.
so
That's
it's an ongoing thing.
fantastic, because
it is.
think of all the women that buy, or men, think of the people that buy guns. They never had the opportunity to shoot one, and so now they have this gun and they don't know how to shoot it. So
Yeah,
when
it's-
instructors offer things like that to the community, it's a huge service that you're doing for your community and the population.
And then
Yeah.
bring in your family with you. You like your daughter or your son. I think that's pretty cool. So you've been shooting for a long time, since you were a kid, or how?
No. I got my gun license in 2002. I ended up taking a class in my town. And the town I lived in was Shrewsbury, and the chief of police was an anti-gun chief of police, and he wouldn't allow people to carry, and he would only accept his class. And the
Thank
class,
God for Bruin, huh?
I know, right? But his class was 3.5 hours of legal mumbo jumbo. They're like, "Well, you can't shoot someone in the back, but if they're breaking in, then you may." Like,
The law.
right? It's all this legal
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm like, I don't know the difference between a revolver and a semi-auto, and I don't know how to load them, but now I have to learn all this legal stuff, and I ended up taking that class and getting my my LTC Class A at the time, and it had restrictions on it, so I could only go back and forth to the range, and that was okay because I didn't have any guns.
Right.
Then that fall, I took a class with Dr. John Green, and I found the Gun Owners Action League, and I took a basic pistol class with John, and I'm like, this is really cool.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's an
Yeah.
amazing instructor.
Our episode with John Green comes out this week. He was our guest, our first guest
Yeah.
on our
I
show.
can't wait.
Second
He's,
episode.
Yeah.
he's awesome. He's
He's
great.
so good.
But doesn't that inspire you though when you meet an instructor like that is so like Dr. Green, you know what I mean? He just gets you
Who's not
in.
really a doctor.
He's
No,
not-
just saying.
For the public.
Right. He's just an unbelievable wealth of information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
for
it
sure.
inspires you to go forward and continue your education, and then, you know, so you became an instructor when?
I became an instructor in 2007. I was going to the goal was doing the FSEDs, the Firearm Safety Education Days, and John was like, "Hey, we need some people, and you're already a teacher and you like shooting. Why don't you come help and volunteer some time?" So I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds cool." So I'd go volunteer some time, and you know, we'd go to the club up in North Leominster and teach people how to shoot. And sometimes it was college kids, and sometimes it was legislators and various groups of women and whatnot. And so John's like, "Hey, you should become an instructor."
That's
so I'm
awesome.
like, "What do I need to do?" You know, and I credit the stuff that I'm doing now to taking the class with John.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you know, and like I remember thinking to myself, you know what, like I want to do what John does for a living.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
If he had
inspiring.
$1 for every person that said that, he would be a rich man.
He would be.
He trained Carrie and I also.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
He played a huge part in where we are today.
Yep, a huge part.
Yeah,
and he's so inspiring. You just, you know, he's our mentor. Anytime you have a question, you're like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I
yeah.
Yep.
I can't plug goal enough. Gun
Yeah.
Owners Action League.
Yep.
It's $30 a year. It's one of the best
It really
organizations
is.
to belong
yep,
to.
nonprofit organization that safeguards our Second Amendment here in the States.
In the
so.
Massachusetts, yeah.
And I'm so lucky to have them help me with the DC project because you know I'm still new at this myself, so it's
Yeah,
it really is
there's a lot to learn.
amazing. Yeah,
You know, people to talk to and people, the people to connect with. You know, getting in touch with people that are getting stuff done.
I think it's key that what we're doing is so important, as I said earlier, for the community. I think you know we're giving everybody an opportunity to ask questions, to learn about what firearm ownership looks like I said earlier, and I think that's just so important. So
So
good.
Charlie, you are a music teacher? We're a music teacher?
Am
Am a music
don't
teacher?
blow my cover.
So you do gun grams, I heard.
Yes.
Can
so,
you tell us
so,
about gun grams?
Of course. So gun grams, I was hanging out with some friends, and I spent 10 years playing in a Motown disco funk band, playing in a horn section. Yeah, and in my previous life, we opened up for Ray Charles one time. We opened up for Earth, Wind, and Fire
Wow.
one time. Meatloaf's daughter hired us to play at her wedding.
Wow.
yeah,
You
and-
are an eccentric man,
Right,
Charlie
something.
Cook.
I'm something. And Meatloaf came up and did Meatloaf came up and did like a 10-minute version of Mustang Sally with us.
oh my
Oh my
God,
goodness.
Really cool.
I've always
Yeah.
wanted to meet that man. Look,
So there's
there
a
you
picture
are.
of you.
There we are. There we are.
So tell me, explain this picture, because I'm sure that there are people out there thinking, wow, that's dangerous what he's doing.
So you're right. So what it is this. I had a friend that said, hey, you know, when you talk about your old gigging days, you get that look in your eye. And then he said, you know, when you talk about guns, you get that look in your eye. You should find a way to put the two of those together. And he says, you know what you should do? You should go out and play bum 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 bum. And I'm like, that is ridiculous, man. So I went home and I worked on one-handed reloading, right? Dropped the mag, holster, new mag. And I made a video of the Blue Danube Waltz in 2014, playing
That's
the
awesome.
trumpet. And
That's awesome.
Then the next year, I played Happy Birthday for one of my friend's son's
That's so
birthday.
cool.
And I hate it when the kids do the cha-cha-cha when they sing Happy Birthday.
Yeah.
Do you?
So I do. I hate it as a parent, and I
Yeah.
hate it as a musician. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because the cha-cha-cha is nothing. It's cha-cha, happy birthday to you, cha-cha-cha.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So what do you do? Put a camera up on the?
I have my ex-wife hold the camera. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
kidding.
I'm kidding. I have a tripod. I put the camera on a tripod, and I play the trumpet with one hand. I've been doing it for years. Conducting and pointing and doing all that kind of stuff as a
left-handed?
teacher. I'm not. I'm right-handed. But
so that must be a challenge.
It's the same.
Yeah.
I mean, the fingerings are the same. So anyway, so I started making videos playing the left hand, playing trumpet with the left hand, and shooting a gun with the right hand. And
So cool.
I've made about 300 videos, and
That is really
they've
cool.
been,
That's
they've been watched
awesome.
20 million times all over the world.
And you got that
Wow.
picture was awesome. Nice muzzle flash.
And I know
Boom.
it's nice to have a picture that's got some good muzzle flash.
So speaking of birthdays, I heard you just had one.
Oh man, yes.
What was it? The day after
It
Thanksgiving?
was around
There it is.
Thanksgiving.
So we got
there's
something.
a little something.
We got something.
Oh my
A little
gosh.
something for you.
We know you didn't even want to talk about your birthday,
I-
so we're purposely doing this.
Right.
just
So
to-
we'll not only talk about it, we'll put it on Facebook. We'll,
yeah, we're going to put it everywhere. We're going to put it on cable TV.
Right. Everybody in Taunton's going to be messaging me. Hey, happy birthday. All right. Let's see what this is. This is it's some red wrapping paper. Is it upside down? Oh my God! This is great. I love it.
So happy birthday.
I love it. Well,
for
thank
Charlie.
you, ladies.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
God, that is so cool.
Yeah, so we can't thank you enough for being on the show. We're running out of time, but we thank you so much for all your work and everything you do to help with this community and bringing out how important it is to protect our Second Amendment. And I'm very, very fortunate to have not only done an interview with you and had an awesome conversation. We've became friends, and I'm very fortunate because I feel like, don't you feel like we
Yes.
meet all these amazing people and
Yes, thank you
just-
so much for joining us.
we just increase our little bubble that we have around us.
It's about increasing your circle of friends, and
Yeah.
I'm honored you ladies. I'm honored you had me on your show.
Yeah,
If
thank
there's
you.
anyone out there that has any questions or would like to offer a topic for another show, please reach out to us at sistersinarms2022@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, stay safe.
Stay safe.